Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Disney Store exclusive Star Wars First Order TIE Fighter released in 2015. This ship was first seen in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So first things first, this ship and a couple of others were donated by longtime viewer and subscriber Eric. So Eric, thank you very much, I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed the review. Now I know a lot of people seem to have a big issue with the sequel trilogy, and rightfully so. Many people don't agree with the story. I myself don't particularly agree with some of the story elements, but besides that, I think they're a set of very beautiful films. The settings, costumes, and especially starships all look pretty cool in my opinion, and I know I might be in the minority about that, but this ship we see before us is one of those items I really enjoy looking at, because to me it does seem like a progression from what we've seen before. Now in the original trilogy, TIE fighters were the main fighter of the Imperial fleet. This here, the First Order version, is more predatory. All the rounded angles of the original TIE fighter are slanted, sort of like a stealth ship, which is awesome. And the paint scheme, instead of being that bluish gray or gray, is now black and white, gray, and red. And, it really looks like it has some teeth, and I like that about this. And when you think about it, if you're going to make a starship to go in space for war, what color is better than black besides a cloak? You can't really see it, especially at the speeds these go at. So it's very interesting. Is it something that we've seen before and they just made it a little cooler in different areas? In my opinion, yeah, a little bit. I dig it very much. So, moving on to the size of this particular ship, it comes in at 4¼ inches tall or 10.5 centimeters tall. So, this is a nice size ship. It's bigger than a Hot Wheels. It's bigger than a Galaxy's Edge exclusive First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. And I'll have some different size comparisons later on in the video to show scale. So we do have a lot to cover today. If you're new to the channel, what I like to do is go over all the major points, check out a nice close-up of the mold, see what we're paying for, look at the paint, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. Alright, let's take a look at the mold. Just like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections of the ship, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. So, starting off first, let's go over the main sections. We have our solar array wings, looking very good. We have our brace in the center, also known as the power converter. We have our solar array panels, supports for the wing, looking good. And that's the same for the other side as well. Looking sharp. The interiors are nicely done. Copyright crap at the bottom. Very cool. Excellent. Now for the main body, we have our pylons, looking pretty cool. Right here, this antenna, that's for subspace and communications. We have our cockpit hatch at the top. Now, it looks like it could open, but I can't get it open for nothing. So, that's that. Right in here, we have our transparent steel viewport, looking very nice with that translucent red. Underneath that, we have our laser cannons, as well as targeting sensors, looking dope. And you can see how they protrude out there. Very nice. We'll get a close-up look at that soon. Right at the bottom, we have a turret, which is kind of new to me. Nice. And on the back, we have our rear window or aft window. Ion engines at the top and bottom instead of being on the sides, which is pretty accurate. Then we have all our plating. So all in all, a very nice ship with a lot going on detail-wise on it. So now, let's get a closer look. Now, having a closer look, we'll begin with the solar array wings. These are very impressive with the amounts of details you can see right here with the wind brace / power converter. There is a lot going on here. These wings are identical on both sides, so we're only going to focus on one for time's sake. But look at that. The detail in here is amazing. And we'll look at the other side real quick. And you can see they are identical. Everything's sort of mirrored even on this piece. But amazing. Now, looking at the supports, you can see it's not just a little raised bar. No, there's a couple different doodads in here. And that looks amazing in my opinion. Coming up, you see all the details continued. Really cool. And then also on the bottom, which is nice. Now, one of my favorite parts is the actual solar array panel. And there's 6 of them on each side. And you can see all the detailing on there, which, in my opinion, is very impressive. We're talking hundreds of these little slits here, which is crazy, but it looks great. Now, you might see little black pieces or gray here and there. That's because the white is painted onto the black. So that's just how they did it, but regardless, it looks fantastic in my opinion. So look at that. Beautiful stuff. Nice. Now the edges, they're just sort of flat. There's nothing really to write home about. So we'll move on to the interior. You can see these solar arrays look fantastic again. Again, hundreds of those little slits. You can see the support struts looking very nice, very detailed. They got the little extra support here. Looking good. For the sides again, beautiful. And keep an eye on those struts. They look fantastic. Looking good. Nice. Coming up on this section. Looking good. And I know it looks identical to most of us, but I'm just showing everybody at home what exactly you're getting with this piece, which is great. In my opinion, it looks awesome. And I love this section. It's where the pylon meets the wing. We can see this nice armor section going around, which looks good. And in the interior, we have some beautiful details in there, which looks great and mirrors the actual power converter. So I do appreciate that. I think this looks awesome. Looking at the other side, you can see all the little details in there. Good stuff. And it is the same on this side. There is no differences. Fantastic. Now, looking at the main ship, we have our pylons, which are identical on both sides. You can see that it has a lot of that slanted paneling, very stealth-like. A lot of support struts and whatnot. Just awesome. We do have a seam line that goes through the top. But that's just because this is probably all metal. I know there's a couple plastic pieces, but I'll go over that in a few. And then on the bottom, we have another seam line that goes all the way through. And then back to the front. So all in all, really cool. And I love the little shapes here. Great stuff. Now, right here, we have our comms antenna. And you can see that is movable. It's like a rubbery plastic, but detailed pretty cool. On the top, we have our cockpit hatch, which is nicely detailed. Now, we have this little hinge here, but I tried putting a razor, my fingernail. I can't get under here to lift it. I don't think it opens at all. But I just wanted to point that out, because it looks like it should. Maybe it's glued. I'm not too certain. I tried to look it up. Couldn't really find anything at the moment. But if I find anything out, I'll do an update. But very nice. And I love the cockpit sphere here, with this nice line work and the armor sections. Looking very nice. For the transparent steel viewport, look at that. Nice angles. The transparent red plastic there. You can see the inside a little bit. That's great. And the paint is very neat. I guess little nitpickers would say here and on the top, but from a distance and looking at a shelf level, it looks fine. Looking at the bottom, we have our laser cannons, as well as our targeting sensors, which looks amazing. And they do protrude out. And I dig that. I think that's awesome. On the bottom, we have this plastic piece with, shockingly, a little turret. Now, I tried to look up what this turret is. I can't find any data on this. It's not in any DK book or anything. So what I think they did is they had information for the Special Forces TIE Fighter and the regular one, and they sort of combined them like they did with Hot Wheels, but I can't be certain on that. But if you haven't noticed, the bottom here is plastic, and the top is plastic, and it sort of covers up the metal seam line here. So, pretty interesting, right? Regardless, some nice detailing. Coming to the back, we can see our aft window, which is recessed in. Looking dope. We have our ion engines on the top and bottom. And then some nice detailing. All in all, a pretty sick looking fighter, in my opinion anyway. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but what are you gonna do? We all can't be the same, right? Being different's what makes the world better. And that's everything I have to say about the mold. You know, for being such a larger ship compared to other things I've reviewed, there is a lot of die cast on here. The wings, the pylons, the cockpit sphere is all metal, the comms array antenna, cockpit hatch, transparency viewport, and bottom with the turret is all plastic, and it's heavy. Like, check that out. This thing is no joke. So, pretty nice. So, now let's take a look at the paint. And now looking at that paint on the First Order TIE Fighter, this baby has about 5 different colors. First up is a nice black. It's the main color of the ship. Looking very nice. It's like a matte black. I dig it. It's got some gloss here and there, but for the most part, it's really cool. Nicely done. Moving on, we do have white for the interior and exterior of the solar array wings. Looking good. Nice color choice. I dig it quite a bit. Now, the white is painted onto the black, so you might see some bleed through here and there, but on the whole, not too shabby at all. I think they did a decent job with this. Very nice. You can see that the copyright crap is black right here. Not bad as well. Now, moving on to the center, we do have a couple of other different colors. We have gray and translucent red for the transparasteel viewport. Looking good, nice and clean. And then we have red for the laser cannons and also the targeting sensors on here, which is pretty cool. On the bottom, this little turret is also painted red. And on the top and back, it's just black. Nothing really else. So all in all, a nicely painted piece. So that does it for the mold as well as the paint. All in all, I think this is a great ship. So now, let's compare it to some other pieces before we end the video. Now, this ship doesn't come with a stand whatsoever. If I turn it around, there's no peg holes or anything like that. So I simply just put it on the table like so, and I guess you're good to go. And moving on to my size comparison section, I had a commenter tell me that he liked when I would post multiple different objects that are the same. For example, when I went over my Super Star Destroyer, I had every Star Destroyer I could next to it. So that's what I'm going to do today. I told them I would. And before us, to compare with the Star Wars First Order TIE Fighter seen in the center, I have some other First Order vessels from various different companies. Starting off on the far right-hand side, we have the Takura Tommy First Order TIE Fighter, which looks really cool. Moving over, we have the Hot Wheels version. Right here, we have the Galaxy's Edge exclusive First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. And finally, on the far left, we have the Star Wars X-Wing miniatures game First Order TIE Fighter. All in all, these are some great vessels. Now, are the paints a little different on each one? Absolutely, but that's because we're dealing with different colors and different companies. And on the whole, they're all good in their own way. Now, I didn't review all of these ships as of right now, but for the ones I did, check the links in the description below if you're interested in seeing reviews of them. And that does it today for my review of the Disney Store exclusive Star Wars First Order TIE Fighter released in 2015. To do a little recap for the mold, this is an amazing piece. Normally with bigger or larger scale vehicles, we tend to lose detail here and there. It seems to be the opposite with this. There is a lot going on, from the main body to the pylons and even the wings. This is amazing. I think my favorite sections have to be the pylons, and then we have that center of the wing section, which is the power converter or wing brace. I love all the little doodads on that. Very nicely done. The braces and even the solar array wings look fantastic. The paneling on them. Now moving on, we have a lot of other cool little parts of this, especially the comms array antenna and also the transparasteel viewport, which in my opinion looks very cool. I dig that quite a bit. Moving on to the paint, it's very simplistic. We only have about 5 different colors on here, but everything works. You got the matte black, the white, the reds, everything works together, and I like it. Now, it doesn't come with a stand. I actually have it sitting on one of my tri-stands. It looks pretty good. It would have been great if we had a stand with this, but it is what it is. And that's everything I have to say about this predatory ship today. Eric, again, thank you so much for this submission. I really enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed the review, my friend. Thank you so much. If you guys at home enjoyed the review as well, smash that like button. And if you'd like to see new videos every week, subscribe. Again, to all of you at home, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my content, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.